and one day she was gathering herbs. She saw a butterfly and thought to herself, "I've never seen such a beautiful butterfly before." So she followed it, and the butterfly led her to a field of flowers. And in the middle of the field was a tree. The tree had no leaves, only fruits. And these fruits were the most beautiful fruits she had ever seen. They were red and yellow and looked like tiny suns. She picked one of the fruits and ate it. It tasted like a mango, sweet and juicy. And then she picked a red one and ate it. It tasted like a strawberry, sour and sweet. Then she picked up a yellow fruit and pissed hub. Once upon a time, in a kingdom far away, there lived a king who was known for his immense wealth and power. He had everything one could ever desire except for one thing, and that was love. The king had tried everything to find love, but nothing had worked, so he decided to put an advertisement in the newspaper. The ad read, "Wanted, a beautiful princess to marry and have children with, must be kind and intelligent." The king received hundreds of letters, but none of them were what he was looking for. Just when he was about to give up, he received a letter from a woman named Sarah. She wasn't a princess, but something about her letter made the king hopeful. He decided to meet her and see if she was the one he had been waiting for all his life. When the king first saw Sarah, he was immediately smitten with her beauty. But he was even more impressed by her intelligence and kindness. They talked for hours, and the king felt like he had known her forever. At the end of the day, they decided to get married, and the kingdom rejoiced. Finally, their king had found his princess. Sarah and the king were deeply in love, and soon they had a beautiful baby boy. Life seemed perfect, but after the birth of their child, Sarah began to change. She became more distant and less affectionate towards the king. She would often snap at him for no reason, and it hurt him deeply. The king was confused and saddened by this sudden change in his wife's behavior. He didn't know what he had done to upset her. He loved her more than anything in the world, and he couldn't understand why she was treating him so badly. One night, the king couldn't take it anymore. He confronted Sarah and asked her why she was acting this way. Sarah responded by saying, "I don't love you anymore. I never did." The king was shocked. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. He loved Sarah with all his heart, and he had thought that she loved him too. But it turned out that she had only married him for his money and power. Sarah had tricked the king. She had pretended to be someone she wasn't just to get what she wanted, and now she was leaving him without any hesitation. The king was devastated. He felt betrayed and heartbroken. He had lost the love of his life, and he didn't know how to move on. He spent days in his room, not eating or drinking, just thinking about Sarah and how he had been such a fool to trust her. The king's friends and advisors tried to help him, but nothing seemed to work. He was too caught up in his own misery to listen to anyone. He felt like his whole world had fallen apart, and he didn't know how to put it back together. One day, the king's advisor had an idea. He suggested that the king go on a journey and see the world. He thought that a change of scenery might do the king good and help him forget about Sarah. The king didn't want to go at first, but he knew that his advisor was right. He had to do something to pull himself out of the hole that Sarah had dug for him. So he packed a bag and set off on his journey. When the king first started traveling, he felt awful. Every mile he went away from the castle was another mile away from Sarah. He missed her so much, and he wished he could go back home. But then he started to see the beauty of the world around him. He visited new cities and countries, and he met people from all walks of life. He learned about different cultures and customs, and he saw things he had never seen before. The king was amazed by the beauty of the world. He realized that there was so much more to life than his problems with Sarah. As the king continued his journey, he started to feel better. He still missed Sarah, but he knew that she wasn't worth his tears. He had been a fool to marry her, but he was grateful for the experience because it had taught him a valuable lesson about love. The king was starting to feel like his old self again. He was happy and optimistic about the future. He knew that he would never forget Sarah, but he also knew that he couldn't let her ruin his life. After months of traveling, the king decided to return home. He had seen the world, and he had learned a lot about himself. He was ready to move on from Sarah and start fresh. When the king returned to the kingdom, he was greeted with open arms. His people were so happy to see him back, and they celebrated his return with a huge party. The king was touched by the love and support of his people. He knew that he was lucky to have them. In the year that followed, the king focused on his kingdom. He worked hard to make it a better place for his people, and he succeeded. The kingdom prospered and became one of the most powerful in the land. The king was proud of what he had accomplished, and he knew that Sarah would have been proud of him too. One day, the king was walking through the palace when he saw a portrait of Sarah. It had been years since he had seen her, but he still remembered the pain she had caused him. As the king looked at the portrait, he felt a surge of anger. He realized that he had wasted so much time and energy on someone who didn't deserve it. He had been a fool to trust her, but he was done being a fool. The king decided to take down the portrait and get rid of it. He didn't want to be reminded of Sarah and the pain she had caused him. As the king was taking down the portrait, he noticed a small box hidden behind it. He opened the box and found a letter. It was from Sarah, and it was dated the day she had left the kingdom. The king's hands trembled as he read the letter. It was filled with apologies and promises to return. But the king wasn't interested in hearing what Sarah had to say. He ripped the letter to shreds and threw it in the fireplace. He didn't want to be with Sarah anymore. He had moved on, and he was happy with his life. The king lived happily ever after, ruling his kingdom with wisdom and compassion. He never forgot the lessons he had learned from his mistakes, and he used them to make him a better king. Although he had experienced heartbreak and betrayal, the king knew that he was lucky to have learned those lessons early on. He had wasted a lot of time with Sarah, but he had gained a lot of wisdom in return. He was grateful for the experience because it had made him stronger and more resilient. And that is the story of the king and Sarah. What did you think about the story? Do you think the king made the right decision by leaving Sarah? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this story, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on any of my stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.